Hi everyone. I can't believe we are nearing the end of the Engage conference. My name is Emily O'Connor and I am the events chair of the Next Niagara Council. I hope you're all having a wonderful time and have been able to learn something new, picked up a trick or two, or most importantly, been able to connect with another like-minded individual. To help us solidify the importance of building relationships and to kick off our social hour, I'm really excited to be able to introduce you to Bobby Ray. Bobby will be speaking about a program called 52 Coffees and how real connections can change your life. Bobby has been a young professional committee member with the North Bay and District Chamber of Commerce since 2013 and is the founder of a networking program that launched and subsequently received provincial recognition in 2019 by virtue of an award presented by the Ontario Chamber of Commerce. As a sport administrator by trade, Bobby has found a way to blend his career and his passion for supporting local small businesses with the creation of 52 Coffees, an initiative that he calls a league for coffee meetings. Bobby credits networking for his every professional gain, including sitting on prominent boards in his community, hosting world sporting championships, and making advancements in his career. Once Bobby has done his presentation today, we'll be going right into some networking and socializing where you can practice your skills. Please enjoy this final presentation of the day and help me welcome Bobby Ray. Over to you, Bobby.
I volunteer with the North Bay and District Chamber of Commerce to coordinate a program that I created 3 years ago called 52 Coffees. On January 3rd, 2019, 52 Coffees was launched with 84 participants, over 60 of which gathered in this room you see on the screen at 7:30 in the morning, early in the new year. Ever since, I have met with someone new in my community for coffee every week, now amounting to over 120 individuals. And these aren't just business cards collected. I know these people's pets' names, where their secret fishing hole is, and what inspires them to get out of bed every morning. More so, the program has grown to over 135 participants in 2021, including small business owners, representatives from the area's most major employers, students, community leaders, politicians, and others. Since inception, we have assigned over 4,000 meetings, and we know that in 2020, over 96% of those meetings were scheduled by the participants. Inspiration for this idea came many years earlier when I came across Peter Thompson's article, pictured here, How 50 Cups of Coffee Can Change Your Life, which was inspired partly by Megan Gebhardt's blog, 52 Cups of Coffee, which was inspired partly by a quote that she read by Charlie Jones that said, "You will be the same person in 5 years as you are today, except for the people you meet and the books you read." I'm sure you've all had the experience of reading a book so captivating that you finished it in a day. For me, Gebhardt's collection of coffee meeting stories excited me to the point that I never finished the book. As soon as I was on to what she was doing, I just wanted to pursue the journey. There was a couple of years in between this moment of inspiration and January 3rd, 2019, because I wasn't quite sure about how to get it started. Would I just randomly approach people and ask them to go for coffee? Surely they would ask why, and I would have no better response than it would be an opportunity for me to learn, or it would be an opportunity for me to promote my business. And that, for whatever reason, sat uncomfortably with me. Then one day it just clicked. As a sports administrator, I'm creating tournament and league draws all the time. And in the middle of creating a league for a tennis club, I realized, why couldn't this be the same? The tennis league had 60 players and there were only 6 courts. So it simply couldn't work on a set day and time of the week. The league rather operated by assignment that was sent out by email every Sunday night. And players would book their own time and report their own result back to the league coordinator. So in that vein, if I wanted to meet someone every week for a year, I knew from my background that I would have to find 52 people to agree to become part of this round robin schedule. So I created a poster, I folded it up and put it in my pocket. And for a year, I went to chamber events and spoke to people saying, hey, I think I'd like to start a league for coffee meetings. This would give you the opportunity to learn from someone new every week, and you could promote your business to a variety of new audiences. All of a sudden, it became easy to talk to people because I found a way to make it about them and not about me. These are most of my pictures from the first year. I still take a photo at every meeting, and as much as possible, I share a brief story about the person I met via social media. The social media storytelling component was inspired by a city councillor in North Bay, who I included a photo of on the previous slide, that used to employ social media to do like a feature citizen and a feature business on a regular basis, a series that he now calls Great People, Great Stories. And if you're interested in seeing any of the stories that I or participants of 52 Coffees have posted on Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, you just have to use the hashtag 52 Coffees, all spelled out in letters, to explore those stories. So here's a theory. Relationship building is important for business development. And I know this probably sounds like a no-brainer for everyone listening in. After all, you wouldn't be here today if you didn't already know this to some degree. But what I want to focus on is the difference between authentic relationships, which I'm suggesting will change your life, and the more common transactional relationships, which we tend to pursue in business. A transactional relationship is a relationship where all parties are in it for themselves and where people do things for each other with the expectation of reciprocation. And I'm not saying that there isn't a time and a place for this also. Many of you network in groups where you transact referrals, and I think that's a great program as well. We all go to after hours events and we transact business cards, and I think that's wonderful too. I'm saying that we don't spend enough time also building authentic relationships, which are different and are infinitely more valuable over the long term. Allow me to share a few helpful tips that I've learned over the last couple of years that I hope will help you build authentic relationships. So the first one is take the lead and be accommodating. So I always like to be the one that reaches out first. I follow up relentlessly because we all know that emails get lost in cyberspace or in a sea of other emails received that day. So sometimes a text or a phone call is required. And when I do reach out, I like to provide several dates and times where I'm available, offer to set up the virtual meeting space, offer to meet at a physical location that's convenient for the other person. And nowadays it's advisable to arrange that calendar invitation so there's absolutely no mistaking the agreed upon details. All this is to say that it's just important to make it apparent that you really care about making the meeting happen. And if you can't bring yourself to care, don't engage in the first place, as you will do more harm than good to your reputation. By being difficult to get a hold of, rescheduling at the last minute, things like this. I can hear the grumbling now, but I'm always the first to reach out. I always drive the furthest to get to the meeting. This is a common complaint that we field, and my response has been consistent. Thank you and congratulations. While transactional relationships may be reciprocal, real relationships are not always fair. If your mother, for example, is 10 minutes late for a lunch date, do you erupt from the table and say, next time you best respect my time? No, you're often the bigger person, and an authentic business relationship allows the same benefit of the doubt to be given. Leave your pitch behind. If you're aspiring to build an authentic relationship, the desired outcome of a meeting is not to make a transaction, it's to gain an ally. You gain allies not by telling them what you do, but rather telling them why you do it. And this really needs to come from the heart, not from a brochure. Again, I'm not saying that there aren't times and places where you shouldn't have your elevator pitch perfected and ready to go, but it's not in a situation where you're sitting down with someone for an hour's time to make an authentic relationship. Personally, I go to these meetings completely empty-handed. People joke about this, but it's actually kind of true that in a sense, you're on a date and the object is to sell yourself. I believe that selling a good or service is a byproduct of selling authentic relationships or building authentic relationships, sorry, not the focus of it. People want to conduct business with people they like, people they trust, and people that inspire them. Add value unconditionally. So give without expectation of anything in return and treat others as you would like to be treated. Authentic relationships, again, aren't perfect and they aren't equal. This is your audition to make as great as you can. In other words, two wrongs don't make a right. It doesn't matter how the other person performs. This is your opportunity to show the world what you're made out of. This is your audition, and the way in which you show up in these moments will be seen by far more people than the person in front of you. Evolve your expectations. So I really truly believe that there is value in meeting absolutely anyone that isn't you. Without having seen the other presentations today, I can assume that there's a recurring theme surrounding mindset. We all know that mindset is more than half the battle, and you can transform the most seemingly useless meetings into time well invested with the appropriate mindset and expectations. For example, I'm going to learn something about a different business model. I'm going to learn something new about my community. So that's like, where's that secret fishing hole? Where is a great place to take my pet for a walk or to take my kids for an afternoon of fun? I'm going to work on my interpersonal skills. I'm going to work on my active listening skills. I'm going to seek an unbiased opinion on a challenge I'm currently facing. And last but not least, I'm going to take a much needed break from my day and enjoy this coffee from start to finish without reheating it in the microwave. I could go on and on, but it's now time for you folks to build new relationships. If you're interested in learning more about what I'm doing or just want to chat, please don't hesitate to connect with me on LinkedIn and send me a note that says that we met at the Engage conference. But one final bonus tip before I go, if you do connect with me on LinkedIn, know that I'll want to meet, because it doesn't do either of us any favors to have a stranger on LinkedIn just for the sake of collecting contacts. So let's have coffee. I'll set us up on Zoom, because now that you've heard my story, I'd love to hear yours. Thanks, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Awesome. That was great. Thank you, Bobby. And now we will officially move into the networking portion of our day. So I hope that everyone has had a really great time at the Engage conference, has learned a whole lot, and is ready to continue making connections and meaningful relationships and building on what we just heard here. So if you have purchased our Love Local box, this would be a great time to bring out one of the beverages inside. Many options, Canal Side, Brunch, or Blackburn. And if you haven't purchased it, there is still time to do so. Get some really great local goodies, from these drinks to the scrunchie I have in, to all kinds of great things that have been showcased throughout the day.
So now's the point that we're going actually into some smaller breakout rooms for 15 minutes of creating connections, just like Bobby was talking about. We'll come back for a guided tasting with Blackburn Brewery, and then we'll be back out to breakout rooms for another networking session. So I hope that everybody enjoys their first breakout.
Welcome back, everyone, to the main room. I hope everyone had some great conversation in their first breakout. I know naturally with Zoom breakout rooms, sometimes our conversations get short, so cut short and that last like couple second crunch. So if it did, I hope that you continue that conversation where it left off at another time. And now we would like to introduce Chris from Blackburn for a quick beer tasting before we transition into our next breakout session. Thanks, Chris.
Hello, how's it going?
Really good. Happy to have you here.
Good, thank you. Yeah, so just a quick tasting. First off, just Blackburn in general, we're actually just coming up on a year. We've been soft launched the whole time. So we're still sorting out a lot of things, namely our kitchen. But we're full up for production, and we are a co-brewing facility. So we do a lot of production work for other companies that just can't meet their demands due to tank space or whatever. So that's like what all these boxes are for over here and whatever. yeah, so we have like 6 brands that we're housing right now currently on top of our own. And then we've become the home for Niagara Cider as well. So they're a small business out of Pelham. They do a lot of LCBO strain business. And we're doing packaging and production for them. And then also, it's actually the first instance of it just due to taxation, where we have now a beer and cider company in the same building that are different companies. So that's been kind of awesome. And then we are located just south of New Costco. So we've got lots of good new business development around, across from Heartland Forest, if you know where that is. And yeah, it's just been like steady growth. We still get people daily that are, we haven't heard about you or whatever. And it's because we haven't done this big marketing push just due to the pandemic. But we're going to be tasting today is the Screaming Tunnels. So it's an amber lager, and it's the only beer that we've actually put in our Brewmaster series. There's probably a couple more, but it's definitely his favorite. So it's his passion in beer making. It's a very loosely Vienna-style lager. So in Austrian roots, you're looking at good amount of malty character, and then as a lager, as opposed to an amber ale, good clean finish. So I personally like to pour this pretty rough, just to give it some head. And then as you go through, that's where you're going to get a lot of all your nose, right? As that CO2 kind of pops and releases, it's bringing things up through the beer. That's where you're going to kind of get all those hints. So if you go through it, you're going to start to smell a lot of caramel tones. So you're into that roasty, cooked sugar is like a very general way to put it, right? So you're going to get that kind of molasses, tang to it. A lot of grain is poking through, obviously, as well, because it is a malt-based drink. And then other common notes for ambers are going to be like orange rinds. You'll get a lot of, again, citrus, and you can pick up a lot of floral notes as well. You do have some noble hops in here, so some more traditional hops that'll kind of spike through with a little bit of interest in that field. Did anyone have any questions, like specifically with beer in general or this product, or?
I have a question.
Yeah,
I know that you guys have like a ton of different releases, and is that more like, are they very seasonal, or is there kind of a standard lineup once you guys hopefully open your doors pretty soon?
Yeah, so we have, it's a fairly common business model for breweries nowadays, where you'll have your core selection. So we have 5, kind of 6 beers in our core selection that we plan to always have available. And then outside of that, yeah, things that we can base off of are like Niagara Harvest or whatever fruits in season, if possible, like just different things our brewers want to pursue or different styles, just to keep it interesting. And it generates buzz, right? It's marketing. It has people come in. You can say, hey, we made a new product. And essentially our marketing cost for that was the ingredient. So we get it all back in the end as product. Yeah, so it keeps things fresh and it keeps it fun, and it allows our brewers as well to like develop their skills in different styles. Anyone else?
Are you guys, Chris, in any local restaurants right now?
Yeah, so I actually handle our house accounts. I might be stepping back a little bit and doing some LCBO sales that we have planned. But we have about 50 accounts right now. Just off the top of my head, because I'm going tomorrow. Triple D's Diner in the North End actually serves us with their fish and chip special. Tide and Vine has us for our lager and our light lager. We do a lot of work with Local. It's a small bar on Main Street. They've been supporting us since the beginning as well. And yeah, just expanding the brand kind of naturally, a little bit of word of mouth.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'd love to have you here. I mean, hopefully it's the 14th, like it's been said before. But who knows? And we'll be able to open for 80 people in the patio at that time, roughly, and get some people going. Our GM's actually here, George. He's a part owner as well. Let him say hi.
Hi, everybody. Hope you're having a great session today, and it's happy hour, I understand, as well. So it's the best time of the day.
Cheers.
Hey, George, which is your favorite beer?
What's my favorite beer? We've put out, I think, about 28 different styles since we opened, 28, 29.
Yeah.
And I think my go-to has always been the black lager, personally, my favorite. So
I bring in a lot of funky stuff, and he kind of drinks whatever gets put in front of him. So take everything he says with a grain of salt there.
yeah, I try everything. You got someone in the retail store? Have a great day.
You mentioned that you might be taking on more of a role for the LCBO. Which ones might we see there?
I'm sorry?
Which beers might we see in the LCBO?
So we did an IPA last year that was really popular. Branding was really good. People kind of got behind it. So it's going to be a new iteration of that. We did have to tweak our recipe to put it in. Just the way the LCBO works is kind of crazy. So they essentially tell you what they want, and you have a way easier time of getting your product in if that's what it is. So we kind of tailored to what they wanted. So it's going to be an IPA at like 6.6%, more modern hop blends, kind of clean drinking, and we named it after Chippewa, so it's got that following.
I'll ask you a question. How did you guys come up with the name, or who came up with the name?
And this is funny. I just answered this in the I just answered this in retail. So if you head down Montrose, there's actually Blackburn Parkway. If you look on Google Maps, it's still like this nub. The road isn't finished. And as they were developing this land, our one owner saw the proposed name for the road. And they're going through all these different iterations. So he saw Blackburn. He's like, you know what? We're going to get the building up before the road's done. It'll look like they named the road after us. So it was like a little bit of cheeky like insight there. But like earlier, I like it. At first I wasn't so sure. And then earlier iterations were like Hop Factory and a lot of like industrial commercial branding. And this is still like fairly strong, kind of represents like being a workhouse, but it's, I don't know, a little easier, I think, than calling it a factory right off the hop.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. And we will, have to make an effort to check out your patio, and if not, the retail store. Thank you so much also for supporting the Love Local box. We've really appreciated having you here with us. And now, folks, we'll move into breakout room number 2. So enjoy your conversations.
All right, welcome back, everybody. That networking session brings today's conference to a close. We want to once again thank all of the sponsors, DDL & Co., Niagara Community Foundation, RBC, Niagara Economic Development, 610 CKTB, The Move 105.7, Canadian Tire Bank, Sugar Moon Salon, Wandering Spirits, and Niagara Parks, Niagara 2022 Canada Summer Games. We'd also love to thank the Greater Niagara Chamber of Commerce and everyone behind the scenes who made today possible, including our Next Niagara Events Subcommittee, who has worked tirelessly to pull this off and in amazing form. Today has been a spectacular day. It's so nice to see so many people online and engaged. We hope that you keep in contact with Next Niagara and all of our other awesome online events. And when we can get back in person, we'd love to see all your faces.
And we also want to thank our speakers, some of who are still here with us today. Thank you for lending your time and expertise. And thank you to all of you as well, all of you who stayed with us to the very end of conference day. We really appreciate all of you who joined us to make this conference possible by attending. And just like Clayton said, we really hope that this is either an introduction or a continuation of our meeting. We hope that we will see you again at another Next Niagara event. So be sure to check out our ongoing events calendar and our social handles at Next Niagara. And until then, we hope you stay well. Thank you.